June 17th, 1944. Klaus Bergmann can smell his own death. It's not the smell of blood, or gunpowder, or scorched metal that haunts him.
It's something worse. Something sweet and rotten that creeps into his throat.
Gangrene. The flesh of his left leg is dying, turning black at the edges.
Purple-black tendrils crawl up toward his hip, like poison vines spreading.
He can feel the fever burning behind his eyes, turning thoughts.
But Klaus isn't thinking about the gangrene. He's thinking about what comes next. He's lying on a makeshift cot in an American field hospital tent.
And he knows what's coming. The saw. The blade.
The Americans will cut off his leg without anesthesia, just like propaganda.
Klaus is 23 years old. He closes his eyes, thinks of Sister Maria.
Back in Stuttgart. He wonders if she'll ever know what happened. The tent flap opens. Klaus's heart hammers against his ribs. This is it. Through the fever haze, he watches an American captain approach with medical insignia. Younger than Klaus expected, maybe 30, with wire-rimmed glasses and tired eyes. The captain pulls up a metal stool, studies Klaus's leg carefully. Then he looks directly into Klaus's face and smiles. Rough break, soldier, the American says in broken German. But we're going to try.
Something new. Try something new. Klaus doesn't understand. Some new torture technique?
But what happened next would shatter everything Klausberg thought he knew about Americans. Because Captain Robert Bradley wasn't reaching for a saw at all. He was reaching for salvation. 3 days earlier, Klaus remembered. 3 days earlier, Klaus had been a soldier in a losing battle.
His unit, what remained of it, was pinned down near Kasserine Pass, in the chaos.
16 hours of hell. No food, no water, no ammunition. Just relentless sun.
And the thunder of Sherman tanks, closing in like mechanical predators.
The shrapnel caught him during the final American assault. One moment, Klaus crouched. The next, white-hot pain exploded through his thigh violently.
He remembered looking down and seeing blood. So much blood everywhere. Soaking through his trousers. His squad mates were already running, hands up, voices hoarse, shouting.
Kamerad!
Klaus tried to stand. His leg buckled. He went down hard, desperately. Face first into the sand that tasted like cordite, and despair completely. This is how I die, he thought. Alone in the desert. But then hands, gentle hands, lifting him unexpectedly and carefully.
Not German hands. The uniform was wrong. American khaki. Klaus tried to speak.
Easy, buddy. Easy. We got you. The voice was calm, almost surprisingly enough.
Klaus felt himself being lifted onto a stretcher, carefully and professionally.
Through the haze of pain and shock, he saw an American medic wrapping his thigh efficiently.
Pressure here! Keep pressure here!
The medic spoke to his partner. Yep.
You're gonna be okay, Fritz. Just hang on.
Fritz, the American nickname for German soldiers. But the way this kid said it, there was no hatred in it. Just tired professionalism, clearly.
Klaus had expected a bullet, maybe a rifle, butt to the head. The stories from the Eastern Front were clear about what happened to wounded enemies.
Instead, he got a morphine shot. Clean bandages. Water, blessed water. Cool water dribbled into his mouth. Drink slow. Slow, or you'll puke, the medic warned.
The stretcher bearers moved him through chaos. American soldiers everywhere securing prisoners, calling medics.
Klaus kept waiting for the blow that never came. For the cruelty.
Instead, he got loaded into an ambulance. An actual ambulance with red crosses painted.
An American medic climbed in beside him inside the ambulance carefully.
What's your name, soldier? Klaus blinked. The medic was asking his name personally. Like he was a person, not just enemy casualty number 73. Klaus, he managed quietly. Klaus Bergman. I'm Eddie. Eddie Morrison. From Philadelphia.
Adjusted the tourniquet. Hell of a day, huh, Klaus?
Hell of a...
As if they were two workers complaining about a long shift, not enemies shooting earlier.
When he woke, he was in the field hospital tent.
That's when he noticed his leg. The bandages were soaked through completely dark.
Dark stays, and the smell. God, that smell of infection spreading horribly.
Eddie was still there somehow, drinking coffee from a tin cup. He saw Klaus awake.
Hey, buddy. Doc's gonna look at you soon. You picked up an infection. Happens here.
Sand gets in everything. Infection. Klaus knew what that meant exactly.
He had seen gangrene before, on the Eastern Front. Infected wounds meant one thing.
Amputation, if you were lucky. If not, sepsis. Death, completely. His hands started shaking. Eddie noticed.
Hey! Hey, look at me, Klaus! You're in good hands. Captain Bradley. He's our best surgeon. He will fix you up definitely.
Fix him up? Klaus wanted to laugh, to scream. They were gonna cut off his leg. He was 23 years old and he was gonna spend life
As a cripple. If he even survived. That's when Captain Bradley entered.
Captain Robert Bradley was not what Klaus expected from an American surgeon at all.
The doctor was tall but slight, with hands that looked too delicate for a soldier.
His wire-rimmed glasses kept sliding down his nose during the examination carefully.
When he examined Klaus's leg, unwrapping the bandages with careful fingers, his face impassive. Klaus forced himself to look. The wound was worse. Much worse.
The flesh around the shrapnel entry was blackened. streaks of red and purple radiated outward clearly.
Even Klaus could see this wasn't just infection anymore. This was gangrene spreading rapidly. "3 days, sir. Maybe 4. Klaus bit back a scream. "I'm sorry," Bradley said in German, accented but clear, surprisingly.
I need to assess the damage. The doctor pulled up that metal stool.
He looked directly at Klaus, and there was something in his eyes. Not pity exactly, not disgust. Just clinical assessment mixed with something else. Concerned deeply.
Klaus. That's your name? Yes. Eddie told me. Klaus. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is serious. The infection has progressed completely. To gas gangrene. You've probably heard of it.
Of course he had heard of it. Gas gangrene killed more soldiers than bullets.
Standard treatment is amputation. Above the knee to ensure we get all infected tissue completely.
You'd survive the surgery. We have good anesthesia. Post-operation infection control has improved significantly here.
Klaus closed his eyes. There it was. The sentence he'd been expecting. But I want to try.
Something different. Something new. Bradley glanced at Eddie, then back to Klaus carefully.
There's a drug. It's called Penicillin. Have you heard of it?
It's an antibiotic. Kills bacteria. It's been used successfully on Allied soldiers with infections. Exactly.
Not many times, though. The drug is very new, very rare. We have extremely limited supplies.
Bradley paused. He removed his glasses, cleaned them on his shirt nervously, and put back.
Klaus, I need your consent. I can amputate right now. Safe. Proven. You live definitely.
Or I can try the penicillin. It might work. It might save your leg entirely. But experimental.
And if it doesn't work, the gangrene will progress. We might lose the window entirely.
For amputation, you could die. The tent seemed very quiet suddenly. Klaus could hear his own heartbeat. Could hear distant sounds of trucks outside.
Men shouting orders outside. An American captain was asking him, a German prisoner of war.
If he wanted to try an experimental drug, a rare drug, instead of just cutting off immediately.
Why? Why waste it on me?
You're my patient. I'm a doctor. You need treatment. Over the next hours.
72 hours, Klaus learned what American medicine really meant. The penicillin came carefully.
In small vials. Every 4 hours, a nurse, an actual trained Army nurse named Lieutenant Collins, administered.
Would inject the drug into Klaus's hip. It burned going in. Klaus didn't care. He watched those vials like they were liquid gold, because that's what they were exactly.
Eddie, the medic, visited between shifts. He'd bring Klaus water, help eat.
The K rations that tasted like cardboard but filled his empty stomach. On the second day, carefully.
Eddie brought something else. A chocolate bar. My sister sent it, Eddie explained patiently.
But you look like you need it more than me. Klaus stared at the chocolate in disbelief completely.
Hershey's American chocolate. He'd been told Americans were soft, that they wasted resources on luxuries.
But Eddie was giving his sister's chocolate to an enemy soldier. Why?
Again, Eddie shrugged. My dad fought in the last war, was captured by Germans in 1918.
Said they treated him decent, shared their food even though they were starving too completely.
He always said, soldiers are just guys doing a job. The real enemies are the ones starting.
Wars. That night, Klaus couldn't sleep. Not from pain, the penicillin working.
The fever breaking, but from confusion. Everything he'd been told clearly. About Americans was wrong. They weren't savages. They weren't torturers at all.
They were just people. Captain Bradley checked on him twice. Daily. On the third day, he brought another doctor, a colonel, to examine Klaus's leg. Spreading. Tissue looks viable. Bradley allowed himself a small smile, finally. The penicillin is working. The colonel glanced at Klaus, then pulled Bradley. Aside, they spoke in low voices, but Klaus caught fragments. Extremely limited supplies. More wounded.
Coming in from Sicily. American boys who need it. Bradley's response firm.
He's my patient, sir. I started the treatment. We finish it. Klaus pretended to sleep.
But he heard. An American doctor was arguing with a superior officer to continue wasting medicine.
On a German prisoner of war. Lieutenant Collins explained it carefully.
On the fifth day, while changing his bandages, the captain is taking heat for treating you.
She said quietly. Her German was better than Bradley's. Turned out she'd studied in Berlin pre-war.
Some of the officers think the penicillin should be reserved for American casualties only here.
They're right, Klaus said, and he meant it. I'm the enemy.
Sarah looked at him with those steady nurse's eyes that had seen too much death to waste time.
Nonsense. You're a patient, she said. That's what Captain Bradley believes. That's what I believe.
We took the Hippocratic Oath. Do no harm. Treat the sick. It doesn't say except if German.
She finished wrapping his leg. The wound looked better. Still ugly, but pink.
Healthy tissue was visible now. No more black. No more purple streaks spreading outward dangerously.
Besides, Sarah added with a slight smile, if we only saved people we agreed with, we'd lose half.
Our patients. You should hear some of the political opinions in the American ward.
Klaus laughed. Actually laughed. It felt strange. One afternoon, a young
American soldier, couldn't have been 18, was brought into the tent. Stomach wound serious, definitely. Mother! Mom! Where are you? Mother, help me! Please help me!
Klaus watched Bradley work on him. The same careful hands, the same focused intensity clearly visible.
The same determination. American soldier, German soldier, same. Bradley treated them exactly the same.
The kid survived. 2 days later, he was conscious enough to look around the ward and saw Klaus in the German prisoner of war section. That's a Jerry, the kid said accusingly. To Eddie.
That's Klaus, Eddie corrected. Captain Bradley saved his leg with penicillin. But he's a Jerry.
He's also 23 from Stuttgart, has a little sister, and likes American chocolate. Sound familiar?
The kid went quiet. Later that evening, he asked Eddie to wheel him over carefully.
I'm Tommy, from Nebraska. Klaus, Stuttgart. Stuttgart.
Each other. Enemy soldiers both wounded. Both saved by the same doctor. War's messed up.
Huh? Yeah. Messed up. Messed up.
They looked at pictures of American movie stars. Tommy tried to explain baseball.
Huh?
Klaus tried explaining football.
Real football with feet. They laughed at the language barriers, found common ground complaining about food.
Hospital food. 2 weeks ago, they might have killed each other completely and totally. Now they were trading stories about their hometowns together, peacefully and openly.
On Klaus's 10th day in the hospital, Captain Bradley declared him well enough to transfer out to a prisoner of war camp. You're going to limp for a while, Bradley said honestly.
Conducting his final examination, the muscle damage was significant. But you'll walk, definitely.
Puckered thing that would mark him forever. But it was a scar, not a stump.
I don't know how to thank you, Klaus said. Bradley packed carefully. His medical bag. You can thank me by surviving this war, by going home to Stuttgart.
And that sister of yours. By remembering that enemies don't have to be monsters always.
He extended his hand. Klaus stared at it. An American captain offering
to shake hands with a German prisoner. He took it. Maybe after the war, Bradley suggested.
You can write to me. Let me know how the leg is doing. Professional interest, obviously.
You understand? Klaus nodded, not trusting himself to speak. Eddie drove him completely.
To the prisoner of war camp in a jeep, as they rattled across the desert endlessly.
Eddie talked about Philadelphia, about his neighborhood, about the cheesesteak place on South Street fully.
Where he worked before the war. You should come visit after this is all over completely.
I'll buy you a real cheesesteak. Make up for all those K rations.
Philadelphia. I'll remember. At the camp gates, Eddie helped Klaus. Down from the jeep. Take care of yourself, Klaus.
You too, Eddie. Don't get shot.
Do my best. You know, my dad was right, definitely.
You're just a guy. I'm just a guy. We should be drinking beer together.
Not shooting at each other. Klaus watched the jeep drive away. He was still a prisoner completely.
Still defeated. Still facing years in a prisoner of war camp ahead entirely.
But he had his leg. He had his life. And he had.
The United States War Department issued explicit orders regarding prisoner of war treatment, officially and clearly. The directive was clear. Enemy prisoners would be treated according to the Geneva Convention.
Period. Completely.
Wrote, it reflects who we are as a nation. This was strategic.
Brilliance. Marshall and Eisenhower understood something the Axis powers didn't. How you treat defeated enemies matters.
It matters during the war. German soldiers became more willing to surrender to Americans completely.
The war when you need former enemies to become allies, definitely and clearly.
Compare that to German-held Soviet prisoners. Nearly 60% died in captivity horrifically and tragically.
American-held German prisoners?
Less than 1% died, usually from wounds received before capture. The numbers
told the story American propaganda could not. Their system worked. By war's end,
The United States held approximately 380,000 German prisoners of war in camps across America entirely.
And Europe. They were put to work on farms, in factories, doing labor.
Non-military labor. They were paid. They were housed in heated barracks. They received mail regularly and properly.
They got medical care. The camps had libraries, sports facilities, orchestras. The United States wanted
German prisoners of war to see American democracy in action, even in captivity. This wasn't altruism entirely.
It was the same cold calculation that would lead to the Marshall Plan. Americans already thinking about post-war reconstruction, about turning enemies into allies, about winning the peace.
Klaus Bergmann was repatriated to Germany in January 1946. He walked off.
The ship in Bremerhaven on his own two legs, with a pronounced limp that would stay forever.
Stuttgart was rubble. His family home was gone, but his sister Maria was alive miraculously.
Working in a displaced persons camp run by, in a twist Klaus found almost funny completely.
the American Red Cross. He showed her the scar, told her the story. Maria cried genuinely.
They saved you? The Americans saved you?
They saved me completely.
Klaus found work as a translator for the American occupation forces. His English learned properly. In the prisoner of war camp was decent. More importantly, he could explain to Germans what
Americans were really like. He became a bridge between occupier and occupied. In 1948, significantly, he wrote a letter. It took him 3 weeks to compose, writing and rewriting in careful English.
Dear Captain Bradley, you may not remember me. My name is Klaus Bergmann, clearly.
You treated me for gangrene in North Africa, June 1944. You saved my leg with penicillin definitively.
I wanted you to know, I am walking. I am working. I am alive because of you. More than that, I am free. Germany is rebuilding completely.
We have a democracy now. American democracy. When I vote in our elections, I think of you.
I think of Eddie Morrison. I think of Lieutenant Collins. You showed me enemies.
Can be human to each other. This is what we're building now in Germany completely and totally.
Thank you for seeing me as a person, not just a German soldier. With gratitude.
The letter reached Bradley in Cincinnati, where he was working as a surgeon.
Civilian surgeon. He wrote back immediately. They corresponded for years, short letters.
At first, updates on Klaus's work, his eventual marriage, his children. Bradley's stories from medical practice.
When the Berlin Wall went up in 1961, Klaus wrote about watching families divided permanently.
About how grateful he was to be in the West. Because of you, he wrote definitively.
To live in freedom. In 1968, Klaus did something remarkable, entirely.
He saved enough money to fly to America, to Cincinnati, to meet Captain Bradley completely.
Face to face. Now, Doc Bradley, head of surgery at a major hospital. They met in office.
Two men in their 50s now, both carrying the weight of years and memories clearly.
Klaus extended his hand. Dr. Bradley, I came to say thank you. Bradley took his hand.
Klaus, how's the leg?
Still limping, definitely.
But still walking. They spent 3 days together. Bradley showed Klaus around Cincinnati completely and thoroughly.
Took him to a Reds game, introduced him to his wife and children. This is Klaus.
Bradley told his kids, "I treated him during the war. He was very brave, honestly."
Klaus met Eddie Morrison, too. Eddie was running 3 cheesesteak places in Philadelphia now, successfully and happily.
They hugged like brothers. "Told you I'd buy you a cheesesteak," Eddie said.
They ate, they laughed, they toasted with beer to survival, to peace, to strange paths.
Klaus's story was multiplied thousands of times across post-war Germany. Former prisoners of war returned.
Home with stories. They had seen democracy work. They had experienced rule of law clearly and definitively.
They had witnessed a system where even enemies had rights. These men became
key to rebuilding West Germany. They voted for democratic leaders. They supported the Marshall Plan.
They argued for integration with the West, not alignment with the Soviet East.
By 1955, West Germany joined NATO. Former enemies became allies. The Cold War made.
This necessary, but American prisoner of war policy made it possible. It's hard to demonize people.
Who saved your life?
Klaus became a small part of this larger transformation, working tirelessly.
He taught English to German students, emphasizing American literature, American history, American values, effectively and passionately always.
I tell them about Captain Bradley, Klaus said in a 1975 interview with newspaper.
Americans could have cut off my leg, could have let me die. Instead, they used precious medicine.
This is the kind of country America is. This is the kind we should be. In 1994, Klaus was invited to speak at a German-American friendship event in Stuttgart, definitively. He was 73 years old, still limping. He told the story one more time. The gangrene, the fear, the penicillin, the humanity. I expected amputation, he said. I expected cruelty. I got compassion instead. That changed my life. It changed my understanding entirely.
College student asked him, "Do you think it was just because you were German specifically? Would they?"
Have done the same for a Japanese soldier?
I cannot speak to that.
The Pacific War was different, more brutal on both sides. But I say this.
Captain Bradley did not save me because I was German. He saved me because I was patient.
Because he was a doctor. Because he believed in something bigger than nationalism, definitively and completely.
Dr. Bradley died in 1996. Klaus attended the funeral in Cincinnati respectfully.
He stood at the graveside, leaning on a cane now, and spoke briefly to assembled family.
52 years ago, this man saved my leg. More than that, he saved my soul.
Compassion over hatred. Robert Bradley chose compassion. The world is better, absolutely.
Klaus died in 2002 in Stuttgart, surrounded by his children and grandchildren peacefully and contentedly.
His daughter found the letters, dozens of them, from Bradley, from Eddie Morrison, from other soldiers.
At the funeral, she read from one of her father's last diary entries emotionally.
I am an old man now. My leg still hurts when it rains, but I'm grateful. He was right.
That choice saved a leg, a life, and maybe, in some way, peace.